Hello, my YouTube friends. It's me, your old buddy Magnum, over here at Magnum Videos. I wanted to do a little short video today, which I think might be kind of informative for some of you who don't know a lot about me. Over the years, I've had several jobs during my career, and on more than one occasion during an interview, I've been asked the question, tell me something about you that most people don't know. And my answer for that on many of those occasions was, well, I used to have a monkey. So and I'm going to show you some pictures of little Rudy a little bit later in the video. I'll plug those in. But if you've ever thought about having a monkey or buying a monkey, let me give you some information about a monkey from someone who had one for about 12 years. First of all, they are not inexpensive. When Mrs. Magnum came into the office one day, at that time we had our own business. We had an ad agency and a printing company. And she came in and she was very excited. She says, come with me. You've got to see this. So I left. We had other people working there for us. So everything was, I didn't need to be there. But we left and we went down the street to a pet store. And we go in and she takes me back into the back room. And back in the dark, in a real tiny cage, was this little tiny capuchin monkey. And he was just sitting there and just kind of trembling. And she said, we have to buy him. We have to take him out of here. And I don't usually argue with Mrs. Magnum, so I just said, okay. So we go up and we talk to the guy that worked there, and we told him that we'd like to buy the monkey, and he said, okay. And we said, how much is he? And the guy said, $2,000. And I kind of had some second thoughts about that, but he said, I'll throw in the cage. And anyway, we ended up taking Rudy home with us. And now that was in about 1988. And at that time, 2,000 to 2,500 was about the going rate for capuchin monkeys. Today, they run 8 to 10,000. So if you've thought about buying one, if you've always wanted to have a monkey, consider that you can do a lot with $8,000 to $10,000 that doesn't require nearly the high maintenance that a monkey does. So anyway, we had Rudy. He was a very loving little monkey, except he hated me. He loved Mrs. Magnum, but he hated me. And then when over the years, at some point, and we had heard that monkeys were pretty much a one-person monkey. So anyway, I thought, well, I can live with that. He doesn't have to love me like he loves her. But anyway, at some point, he kind of switched, and he started being very affectionate to me and hated her. And I was out of town, I think it was in either Chicago or Philadelphia for a meeting. And during that time, he bit her. And he basically just clamped down on her forearm, and just when she finally got him loose, there was like a ligament sticking out of her arm. So when I got home, we went to the doctor, and the doctor he really didn't know what to do. He says, I have never treated a monkey bite before, so he had to call a friend of his who was the head of the primate division in New York at the zoo there, and found out what he needed to do. So they had to have some drugs of some kind shipped in, and they made up an injection for her, and they treated her with that. And nothing bad ever came of it, but it was just kind of an unusual situation because doctors don't treat a lot of monkey bites. So anyway, that's that story. Now, in addition to, once he started liking me, every Saturday morning we would go to McDonald's. And we'd go to the drive-thru, and I would order a Dr. Pepper, and I would order Rudy a box of McDonald's animal cookies, animal crackers. And we would get up to the window, and he would come across from his passenger seat and hop out of the window and up onto the little stainless steel shelf that they've got there by the window, which I don't think they have those anymore, but at that time they did. He would hop up there and just hold his hands out, and it would pretty much freak out the person that was there to give us the food. And they just didn't really know what to do. Should I give it to him? What do I do? Do I give it to him? Here. And he would jump back into the car, sit on his little passenger seat, open the box, open the plastic liner inside, take out an animal cracker, and give it to me. He would put it in my mouth. And then he would watch me eat it. And then I guess since I didn't die, he figured they were okay, so he would start eating them. And he would eat them on the way home. He would sit there and he would look out the window at the cars that drove by as we were driving. And anyway, that was a lot of fun. His favorite foods were, this is crazy, I know, but he loved pork and beans. I don't know why. He liked bananas okay, and he liked grapes okay, but pork and beans and McDonald's French fries were a couple of his favorite foods. And because his diet primarily consisted of Purina monkey chow. And we had to order that special every month or so. We'd have to call the pet store and tell them we were going to be needing another bag of Purina monkey chow. Not inexpensive. It's pretty high-priced stuff. But anyway, Rudy lived with us for about 10 or 12 years. I can't remember exactly how long. But he died one night. We had a huge, in addition to the cage we got when we bought him, I built a huge, like 10-foot by 8-foot by 8-foot cage in the basement where he stayed at night or while we were gone. And it had a latch on it and a padlock. And when I would go down there, I would take the key and unlock the padlock and let him out. Well, he watched that for a few times, and in a very short time, he figured out how to get the key, how to put the key in the lock, how to turn it, how to open the padlock, take it off, and he was out. And another interesting story that goes along with that, at night, I would sit in my recliner and watch TV, and I would get an apple and a paring knife. And he would come in there with me, and he'd sit on the arm of my chair, and I would slice a bite of apple and give it to him, and then I would slice a piece, and I would eat that. And we would do that every night. We would eat the whole apple. Well, one of the occasions where he had gotten out of his cage while we were gone, we came home, and Mrs. Magnum had one of those wire basket things in the kitchen that you could put apples and bananas and oranges or whatever in. Well, there were apples in it, and when we got there, there were no apples left in there, but there were apples in every room almost of the house. And in addition to that, there was like a butter knife laying in close proximity to each of those apples. So he must have had, it must have taken him quite a while to get an apple and then go get a butter knife and try to slice it off. I don't know, but anyway, that's the honest to God truth. There was an apple and a butter knife in every location. One final story on that. We had a very long countertop in our kitchen. I mean, it was long. And we were watching TV one night, and we kept hearing this slapping sound, just slapping sound, and then nothing for a while, and then a few seconds later, a slapping sound again. And I thought, what is he doing in there? So I got up and looked, and he had gotten into the flour canister, and he had sprinkled flour all over that countertop, and he was running and sliding, and that slapping sound was his palms of his hands hitting the Formica countertop. So, and I could go on. There's a lot more stories about Rudy, but this video is getting too long already. So I will just end it here. And if you're thinking about buying a monkey, they are a lot of fun, they're a lot of companionship, but they are a lot of work, and they are expensive. So, until I speak with you again, and even after that, you stay focused.